I'm Craig DeHutt, living here in Indy. This is my wife, Karen, and my 3 kiddos. And I bring them up at the beginning because that's one of the things that I'm the most passionate about. And it's one of the reasons why I've pursued the freelance kind of work from home so that I can spend more time with them. I did include a link here. You can follow that to see the kind of home office video that I made at the beginning of the stay-at-home order. And just gives you an insight of the antics that has been my life for the last few months during COVID. So I'm a producer, I'm a cinematographer, I'm an editor. I graduated from film school back in 2007 in Atlanta. And since that time, I've worked in short films and television news, commercials, and documentaries. I even helped create a couple of video games for mobile, which my kids are now playing a decade later, which is kind of cool. But I'll throw this out here at the beginning because the majority of my presentation is about Appian Media, which is the non-for-profit I helped to found. But I do still work as a for-hire videographer and editor. So if there are needs that you all have, I create videos for small businesses and nonprofits, especially nonprofits. You can shoot me information. There's my contact information and my website. I'm kind of in that weird stage where my side hustle, which is Appian Media, is now starting to overtake my day job, which is a fancy way of saying I'm essentially working 2 full-time jobs. So let's talk about the side hustle turning into the main gig, which is Appian Media. Appian Media is a non-for-profit organization that I helped to found. And what we do is we take today's technology and media and we use it to create new and interactive ways to study the Bible. So our team consists of 8 individuals so far. We are spread over 4 different states and we all provide unique skill sets. There are about 4 of us that take care of the production, so the shooting and the editing and the creative. And then the other 4 take care of the hosting, writing, researching, photography, and the bajillion other hats that we all kind of have to do for something like this. So Appian, the name Appian originates from a Roman roadway that was constructed in the 1st century. And we chose this name because that roadway began in Rome and then it spread throughout the conquered nations. Was one of the reasons why history tells us that Christianity was actually able to spread as quickly as it did during the 1st century. One reason was there was, for the first time in history, a common language that Rome was using, the language of Greek, but also because there was now a network of roads that Christians were able to spread into these other countries. So we chose Appian because we are trying to use an existing roadway today, the internet and media, and hopping on that roadway and spreading the gospel to nations that we likely would not have been able to access before. So it began, and I'll try to do this quickly, in 2015, a producer friend of mine, he lives here in Indianapolis, he and I were sitting down for coffee, and he was kind of bemoaning the fact that he was teaching a high school Bible class, and the kids were coming into class and kind of checking out. They are used to learning with one of these, and they are used to consuming information through YouTube. And then they come to Bible class and we tell them to put all the gadgets and the media away. And now we're here to learn. And he said, I'm a visual guy and I can't find anything online that is keeping my students' interest as it relates to Bible Lands videos. And so he had this crazy idea because of his experience as a show producer. He worked on Good Bones, which is an HGTV show shot here in Indy. And he's like, what would it take for us to take a team over to Israel and create some micro documentaries? We were crazy enough to pursue the idea. We launched a Kickstarter campaign in 2016 and raised about $65,000 to take our first trip to Israel. So since that time, We have traveled to Israel 3 different times, and we've produced currently 4 major series. The first one that we did was a 10-episode series called Following the Messiah, where we follow from birth to ascension, the life of Jesus. So we visit Bethlehem and Jerusalem and the Jordan River and Sea of Galilee and show and talk about the gospel story. In 2018, we released Searching for a King, which is a 5-episode series about the first kings of Israel, specifically David, and the evidence, the archaeological evidence there is for that. About a month ago, actually less than a month ago, we just released our first children's series, which follows the Gospels, but it's presented in 13 5-minute episodes directed towards grade school kids, and seeing some great response. I think it's because all of a sudden the world becomes homeschool families, and those are getting a good response. And then also due to COVID, we conceptualized and released a 6-episode series in a matter of a week, a kind of sit-down, casual Bible study kind of format, where 2 of our team members go through the Sermon on the Mount. So what's unique about what we produce, and it was one of the main issues from the beginning, was we are not the first people to create videos about the Bible. We're not the first people to travel to Israel and create videos about the Bible lands. As far as we can tell, we are some of the first to actually make them available for free, no strings attached. So you can go to appianmedia.org. You can find us on YouTube. We're available on Facebook and major Christian distributors like PureFlix and Right Now Media, and those platforms. People can watch and consume the content and use it for their classrooms. And this is just kind of showing you how you can consume that on appianmedia.org. You can click on our videos tab and it has a list of all of those series. Essentially, our content is designed to help bring the stories of the Bible to life. Some people have actually described us as bringing color to the black and white of the text. We want people, when they read the Bible, we're not trying to replace the Bible. We're not trying to say that reading a book is bad. What we're trying to do is create visuals that get people to go back to the book and open it up and see in their mind's eyes the actual places where these stories took place. We also, late last year, began producing podcasts. So the first podcast is something we call Inroads, where Stuart and myself host and interview other people who are using media and technology to reach people with the gospel. That's actually a local filmmaker. Episode 3 of our season 2 just released a couple weeks ago. That's Brett Varvel. His father, Gary Varvel, is an illustrator. He used to work for The Star, and Brett does a lot of really engaging Christian content, and he's also an actor. So interviewing people like that, just trying to talk to other people who are also using their own Appian way. And then we released, starting a couple months ago, a podcast called Digging Deeper with Barry Britnell and Dan Kingsley, are 2 members of our team. Dan is one of our executive producers. And between the 2 of them, I think they've been to Israel about 24 times. And so they talk about the history, the geography, and the archaeology of the Bible lands. And it's, if you like dry humor, these guys really make it engaging. So I'm going to quickly go through the rest of this. Our website really is intended to be a hub for biblical content. And one of the things that we provide for those who are regular donors and regular members is access to our resource room, where we have pre-cut video clips and high-res photos and animated maps. And again, this is another thing that has been used a lot more during COVID, is people are now using this content quite a bit in their own worship services and their own Bible classes, and just trying to make that available. So another thing that we are just now launching, we're in pre-order, and it got delayed because of COVID, but making physical workbooks available that accompany all of our video series. And so we're seeing a good deal of interest in this, both in churches and in homeschool groups. These are fairly robust, full color image workbooks for following the Messiah, searching for a king, and now the Lessons for the Land that just got released. I've actually tested these out on my own kids. So 6 years old, 4 years old, and 2 years old. The 2-year-old, not quite there, but the 6 and 4-year-old really stay engaged with these. There's coloring pages, there's maps and photos, and they really do enjoy that. So I know throughout the last few weeks, we've been saying no video in your presentations, no video. It's because I couldn't figure out how to get it to play smoothly. If you guys are okay, I'm gonna bleed even more into my time, Roxy, and go ahead and try to play a trailer to one of our shows, and then open it up for questions, if that sounds good to everybody.
If I read the scriptures well, there are so many things there which seem to be a reality.
There are stories and people in the Bible that are easy to take for granted. Powerful kings, battles with giants, amazing faith, even overwhelming failure. The question is, do these narratives describe real events? Or are they simply legends? What does the physical evidence indicate? Is there evidence for the United Kingdom of Israel?
Sometimes we do have questions where we scratch our heads, but in archaeology we say that absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. We've only excavated about 5% of the land of the Bible. 95% is still underground.
Jerusalem, which is one of the most excavated places upon earth, has a black hole.
We're digging through layers of history.
Something definite happened right here.
Wow. We are way off the beaten path now. Way off the beaten path. God's people demanded a king. God selected 3 men, an insecure man of great stature, a shepherd who slew a giant, and the wisest man to ever live. We're searching history, geography, archaeology, and scripture to find the answers. How would you respond to critics? Can the Bible be trusted?
Jerusalem itself leads in the fact that there is unequivocal proof that there is a connection to the Bible.
Everything that they found dates exactly to the time of King David.
So we're not talking about fairy tales, we're talking about real people, real places, and real events.
Come with us as we search for a king.